Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sea.
Welcome to be my guest. Today we have from UMass Memorial Medical Center, Melissa Luman. And Melissa is the manager of the Child Life program there. And she's going to talk about not only that, but the Happy Wheels program. And yes, it does involve Ronald McDonald. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you.
Melissa, you started as the director, manager of the Child Life program at UMass. 3 years ago?
About between 2 and 3 years ago now.
But you'd been at UMass for 12 years.
Almost, yeah.
Almost 12 years. What were you doing in the emergency room?
Yes, I started in the emergency room as a child life specialist. So I was there for many years. And then I had the opportunity to start a child life position in our SACU, which is a job I held before I came to UMass. So
What is a SACU?
Really excited. That's our surgical admission care unit. So that's where patients start off when they come in on day of surgery. So I was really excited to start that since I had experience there. Went and started that program. I was still doing both. I was working in the OR at times and in the emergency room at times. So spent a little more time in the emergency room and then was asked if I would like to be interim manager.
So in the emergency room, so if I had brought my little son in there, you would have come in not as a nurse or a doctor, but as somebody, as a happy person.
Yes.
Is there something I can get you to play with?
Yeah, we're the friendly face. We don't do the medical procedures. Yeah. We offer things to help pass the time. We can help calm nerves. We explain procedures ahead of time. We use developmentally appropriate interventions, so it might be explaining sutures on their stuffed animal, or showing them how the syringe is used for water and cleaning, but then we maybe turn it into a game and shoot at a bullseye with our water gun. So anything to kind of make the equipment a little less scary. So that was really what I spent a lot of time doing in the emergency room was procedures and checking on families. But with the emergency room too, we also do help families if there is a death. We do handprints and memory making with families. So there's really a lot of mix of what we do day in and day out.
Right there, like if God forbid your child passes away in the emergency room, you can do a handprint and a memory booklet with them.
Yes.
You can suggest, would you like to do this?
Yep, and it's up to every family. Some families don't want anything from that time, but some families really do want to make that one last memory. Yeah. So we come in, and it's our job to support the family. We're not going to be pushy. We just are here to offer these things. And if they're interested, then we can help them either make it. We can make it for them. Sometimes they like to step out. We really, each individual family, they're setting the rules and the tone. We're just helping to make it happen.
Well, over at UMass Memorial, they have a dedicated children's floor unit. And it's like almost like a separate part of the big hospital, but it's all together. And I know my son was in there one time overnight, and he was a little too old. He just passed the toy stage. So, but Rob, he's been on the show before, and he was originally there, and he was really good. You have to have, like yourself and Rob, a fun personality. Like, I can relate to that. Now, I wouldn't want to do the medical stuff, but like say, hey, what do you want to play with? You know, I think I wrote to you that I think we adults are just big kids.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And where is the adult life program for those of us who come in?
Need it.
I've been in there for surgery. I've been in there in the ER. Are they even thinking of doing something for adults?
There's so many people who ask the same thing.
Yeah.
We all the time get consults from adult units, and sometimes it is to work with children of adult patients, but other times it's just an adult patient who needs a little extra love or wants some explanations ahead of time. I've worked with grown-ups who are afraid of needles because it is not easy to come in and get a needle, no matter what age you are. If you have a fear of it, you have a fear of it. So there's always talk of it. I'm not sure really where that stands. The hospital world has become so much more about the patient experience, though.
Yeah,
there's some really great people in the hospital that focus a lot of their time on patient experience. And then I like to think that, especially in a hospital where we're a children's hospital within an adult hospital, we're a resource. So we always tell people to reach out to us. If we can't come, we can always give suggestions on the phone.
I wish this had been when I was a little kid growing up. I was in Springfield Hospital, and it was not only back then, I don't know what it is now, it was the most depressing, scary experience. Parents couldn't visit till, it's like for an hour, it's like 7 at night till 8.
Right.
And that was it. Very scary.
I feel like so many adults have the same kind of experience, and it's amazing even when we're preparing kids for IVs, how many parents said, oh my gosh, when I was younger, I thought the needle stayed in your arm. To this day, I thought the needle stayed in your arm.
Yeah.
And it's funny that we, in the past, were so okay with that. Think about how scary that must have been to think it was just in there. So yeah, it's really a much different experience now.
I think that they usually have a staff person, like I remember at the hospital, and I was 6 years old, 6 or 7, and I don't think they even thought about it, but they basically abandoned me down in the basement. That's where I guess radiology or something was. They left me, a little girl, sitting on a, what do you call it, stretcher, alone.
Yeah.
And I remember flagging people down. Will you take me back? Will you bring me back? What else was I going to do? Finally, someone took pity on me and said, well, let me find out what's going on. You wouldn't find that at
No,
UMass.
not anymore.
No way.
And not really at any hospital anymore. Times have changed, and I mean, Basie in Springfield has a wonderful child life program. The Boston hospitals have some really great child life programs. But yeah, you wouldn't find that anymore. Really,
No.
people are so much more aware that knowing what's going to happen, even parental presence, like you said, you were kind of taken away from your parents and there was visiting hours.
Yeah.
You don't see that anymore. Parents are with their children.
And they can stay overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, I know over at UMass they have the lounge. You're welcome to
Yeah.
sleep there. You can go sleep in the room with your child.
Yes.
I know that when my husband had surgery, I know that I was in the room. I was in the waiting room. I was welcome to pick up the phone. They said you can call down to the OR. I said I don't want to disturb the anesthesiologist. They said you won't disturb him. And I went okay, and it was all right. I mean,
Yeah.
the connection that's so important.
So yes.
People feel they lose total control, and the children
Right.
too.
Well, really, I mean, whenever you're at the hospital, whether it's illness, injury, it's impacting the whole family. It's not just that person, whether you're a child or adult. It's traumatic for everyone. So we need to support the whole family.
Exactly. Melissa, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Western Mass, actually. I'm
What?
from Westfield originally.
Oh, Wilbraham?
Oh, yeah.
Aha! Westfield?
Yes, Westfield.
I applied to Plymouth, Westfield, and Keene.
Oh, yeah.
And because I shouldn't have, I should have gone to Westfield. I should have accepted that. I fell in love with the Ivy League look of Plymouth up in New Hampshire.
Yes, I actually looked at Plymouth, too.
I'm glad. It's a party school, and if you weren't into the drinking, I was lost.
Yeah.
The kids were out doing this. I had a roommate who could study in one night and ace a test. I tried that. Didn't work. So you grew up in Westfield.
Yes.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Merrimack College for my undergrad degree, and that was in psychology. At the time, I did not know about child life, so I always, my mom is the person who I credit for finding about child life. She sent me an article one day, and it was about a child life specialist, and she said, oh my gosh, this is what you explain all the time.
Yeah.
So I was almost finished at Merrimack, so I graduated, I got a job, and then after a few years in that job, I went back to get my master's degree at Springfield College in therapeutic recreation and child
Right,
life.
close to where I was at Wilbraham.
Yeah, close to home.
Gee, I remember you could just take a bus and go up there.
Yep.
So you got, what was the degree you got over there?
So that one at Springfield College, it was a Master's of Science in Therapeutic Recreation and Child Life. So the concentration was child life.
Oh, you're perfect for this job. I mean, this is great. So then you started at UMass about 12, 13 years ago. And you started in the ER, or where were you
Yes.
originally?
Yep. The emergency room was the first place I was.
That was the first
Yep.
place. Now that is baptism under fire.
Yeah.
Had you volunteered in ERs at all?
No. Thankfully, Rob, who you had on the show, had faith in me and believed in me. My only experience in child life to that point was in an operating room, which is a whole different world than an emergency.
Yeah.
But he had faith and confidence in me, and he gave me the position, and I loved it. It was the best thing that I've ever done it. I love the emergency room at UMass. It's still one of my favorite places.
Yeah, UMass has the separate, people who don't realize that they have a separate pediatric emergency room with a separate waiting room.
Yeah.
You can have your toys in there. So they don't have to be in the big area with all of us
No.
grown-ups. They don't have to do that. I know that my son's little children, I have suggested to their mother, and she has gone, don't put them through the big one.
Right.
Send them over to the children's one.
Yeah.
And they are really getting so many people in there, even in the adults' place. They're going to have a new building again.
Yeah, we're very busy. Unfortunately, it results in some wait time, but they see so many patients every day.
Tell us let's hold this up here. Hold this up. Paul, if you can hear one. This is the Ronald McDonald coming, and this is the Happy Wheels
This is
program.
the Happy Wheels program.
Over at UMass. Go ahead.
Oh, so we are very lucky to have this program there. The Ronald McDonald Foundation has really done a lot for us. It started with, we had a room that was dedicated by the Ronald McDonald Foundation, and it's kind of a place for families to go, sit, relax. There's some coffee and things in there. But this one, actually, the great thing about the cart is it goes room to room. So
Yeah.
patients and families, you might remember when you were there with your son, you don't want to leave their bedside. You don't want to leave your kids alone. So the cart was designed to be a comfort cart for the patients and the families. So on the top of the cart, we always put some food. It's bottles of water, coffee,
I
tea.
see coffee.
Yep, coffee's important to those parents. Tea, snacks are on
Goldfish?
there.
Are those goldfish?
Yep, so we put snacks for the kids and for the grown-ups. So we have granola bars, goldfish, different things at different days. And then the side of the cart is really cool because it slides all the way out.
Yeah.
And we have comfort items and activities in there. So it's activity books like coloring or Sudoku. There's comfort items like fuzzy socks and slippers. Sometimes we get blankets, hats. Everything comes in by donation, so
Yeah.
we're supported a lot by the Ronald McDonald Foundation, who helps really purchase the food for the top of the cart. They drop off when they have it, even if it's extra Happy Meals toys from McDonald's. They bring all kinds of things for us. But we're also incredibly lucky that the community is really supportive of this cart.
Yeah.
I think that's how you had heard of us recently, was two little girls had run a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
So that they could buy some items to put on the cart. And we get Girl Scout troops, Boy Scout troops, the community, they make arts and crafts projects, or they'll do a slipper or sock drive, so that we can put things on the cart for the patients. It's
Melissa,
really nice.
in your family, were you the only child, youngest?
Youngest.
See, this is what have you ever read, Lehman's book? Oh, I can't think of his first name. The Birth Order Factor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm the youngest of two onlys. He's a lot older than I am, but I have the characters. Often they'll say the cubby, the youngest one, is the one that is almost like you and I, the one into the, like my father once said, you can relate to their world.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're relating to their world. Now, the Happy Wheels program is just one thing up there.
Oh, yes.
Well, tell us about some of the others.
So we have so many. One of our amazing programs that I love to talk about, which is supported by philanthropy only, is our music therapy program.
Ooh.
So we, I'm so happy she's part of our team. I just adore her. Her name is Trish. She's our music therapist. So she is, her degree is in music therapy. She has all of the training and education around how to help children cope with their emotions and work out those feelings. It can also reduce pain, and their it can lower their anxiety. She's just amazing. She's done some really beautiful things with some of our patients where they take lyrics of a song and maybe redo the lyrics to express the emotion that they're currently feeling in the hospital or related to a diagnosis. She can teach them to play instruments. I mean, she's just phenomenal. I can't say enough wonderful things about her, and she just complements the Child Life program
Is she there
so
every day
beautifully. She's not. Right now, again, it's based on philanthropy, so we're always looking for donors and fundraising to help support that program. We have her for 16 hours a week right now. 12 of those she's on our inpatient unit, and 4 of those she's in our oncology clinic.
Now, are you, let's say I came in with one of the little ones, and this one was beside herself. Are you do you just come automatically into the room, or do they have to come get you in time?
So we have staff that are in different departments. So we have someone dedicated to the inpatient. We have someone dedicated to PICU, outpatient clinics. So really, our expectation for ourselves is that we see every patient that we can in the areas where we can.
Yeah.
Outpatient clinics is a little harder. There's just way too many patients for us to manage with one person.
Right.
But really on the inpatient unit, there's about 30 kids if it's full, 10 in the PICU. In those kind of departments, we're expecting that everyone's getting checked on, introduced services. We have wonderful support from volunteers.
Yeah.
So they really, without them, we wouldn't have the time to really be in the rooms doing the medical, emotional, psychological piece as much, because they sometimes help us with the fun play piece, so we can spend individual time with patients and families.
Do you also go, I've also always wondered about starting something. When I was a volunteer over there, I had mentioned it, but it kind of fell flat. I think they thought I meant that we would pay somebody to do this. No, this would be like a volunteer. A surgery buddy. For adults, I mean, we have them now for the children. How about for the adults coming in? I mean, when I was a volunteer and I sat up in the area where people come in up over the Duddy Massage building, I did it too. Check in, you pray, you know. One of the men was walking in for his surgery and he went, oh. You could tell. And if somebody like you, like that, was there for that person, even if they have a loved one with them, somebody who represents the hospital, like, this isn't as bad as you think. Is it really realistic to think, and I love this, if the patient feels a sense more of that they're a participant rather than a victim?
Right.
Do you go with that?
Yeah, I think it's funny that you say that about the volunteers, because I think there's we have these new Ask Me greeter desks.
I used to do that.
Yes, and so I do think there's kind of like a connection. Maybe a little more what you're saying is like the next step of it, but I really feel like UMass really does value patient experience, and they're really looking for those opportunities. So those Ask Me greeters, those help desks, they're popping up more and more in the hospital. We have a volunteer who walks up and down one of the main hallways to see if people look lost, and give them directions if they need it. There's so much training there too, even for staff, that it's so often you see a staff member stop in the hallway to say, "Are you lost? Can I help you find somewhere?"
I'll even stop and I'll say,
Yeah. And I mean, and it's not just like, for me, it's not just let's give them directions. It's like, let me walk you there. And,
that's what I did on Ask Me. I would leave the booth and say, somebody who was really lost and very upset. I remember there was one lady in particular who would come probably for treatments almost every day. And I said, she'd forget. I'd say, let me walk you down. And she was a big girl. And I had to try and maneuver I didn't maneuver it again. I found somebody who was stronger than me. But I had that sense where I'm going to take this person myself.
Right.
You know, really,
it's a human connection. I mean, it really means so much to people to feel that someone cares enough to make sure they get to where they're going or answer their questions.
And even at the parking garage over there, we even interviewed the gentleman that senior citizen volunteer.
Yes.
He sits right there in the cold weather, the hot weather. He's right there at the ACC building.
I see
and
him
he
all
sits
the time
there. He is terrific.
He's wonderful.
Melissa, how can people get a hold of you if they have questions?
Sure. So the Child Life program, there's a few different ways to get a hold of us. There's the main Child Life number, which is 774-443-2549. We have a Child Life Facebook page, so Child Life at UMass Memorial on Facebook. We have a website, so that you can search for the Child Life program at UMass. And I also have a Child Life email address, which is childlife@umassmemorial.org. So that's another way.
So you have the happy wheels.
Yes.
And then you have the music.
Yes.
You want to tell us about some other things?
Sure. So we have pet therapy.
Oh, that's my favorite. Other than the toys and the coloring, that's it.
Mine too. Sometimes I just want to see the dogs.
What kind of dogs do they bring in?
So there's a few different ones now. I'm trying even to think who we have right now. But there's all different kinds. There's smaller dogs, bigger dogs. There's just...
Do you ever have a basset hound?
I don't think we have had a basset hound.
Let me tell you, I can picture, because I've been in for surgery up there before. I was sitting there in that room, I'm like, oh. I could see, if he was, I don't know, had him in some scrubs, a basset, basset hound in some scrubs, trotting along the hall. I mean, that's enough to crack up anybody.
Right.
I think that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. I love, personally, too, even some of the big ones that just come in and they're so cuddly. But that's through volunteer services as well, because their handlers come in, they onboard as volunteers, and then they are spending their time to bring the dogs in. So we're really lucky to have that as well.
Can kids wear their own pajamas these days?
For the most part, depending what they are there for and what they need to have done. If they're inpatient, they're usually in Johnny's. Still, they might be, but they can switch to their jammies if they don't have specific like IVs in or different things going on. They can wear their jammies if they're there for a while, or regular clothes. And then they're being really great in all the departments about if a kiddo doesn't feel like getting out of their clothes, and they can still do the exam that they need to without having to switch to a Johnny. It's always
that Johnny thing, it bothers adults too. I don't think it's just the immodesty of it, but there's some sort of signal. We see it, it's like, oh God, really? How about you got something more fun you can put on? I mean, really?
It's just more comfortable.
It's not fun looking, and it looks hospital. It looks, like this is serious.
Right.
Something that would be really, really fun. Do you actually go into the OR if you've got a really upset Sometimes don't they let the parent walk them in until they're asleep?
Sometimes, yes. So kind of depending on the child, the family, anesthesia kind of makes the determination of if they feel like it's an appropriate fit for the parent to go back, and they can have the parent put on a bunny suit and go back into the OR. There's still child life in the OR as well. So
and you're not afraid of that at all?
No, no. Actually, that's our job is truly focused so much on the child and
Where
helping
were
them
you
cope.
when I was a kid? Oh my God, you would. And this type of thing, I'm sure there's a lot of grown-ups out there. I think,
Yeah.
oh my God, they could use it now. I
Yeah.
have a friend that she had to have breast surgery, and she was petrified of needles.
Mhm.
I've never met a grown-up of that.
Right.
And I tried to say there's Emla cream
Mhm.
that can make it a little better.
Right.
Tell them how you're feeling. She was over at UMass. I
Yeah.
said, they will hear you.
Right. Yes, I will never forget one day that I was working in the emergency room. They called me over to the adult side and it was a grown man who was just terrified of needles.
Yeah.
And I told him what my job was, and he kind of gave me like,
Yeah.
this feels weird, but okay, we'll give it a try.
Yeah. Did it work?
And yeah, same thing. Like we just talked about for a few minutes about what was the part that made him feel queasy and
Yeah.
what we were going to do to kind of our coping plan, the same way we work with kids. What was
Yeah.
going to be our coping plan for that part so that he would not pass out when he...
That's so key, because
No.
when I have a medical person who isn't just treating the herd mentality, like, oh,
Mhm.
well, it's an adult, that's not the way it is.
Mhm.
I like it. Personally, I like it better when somebody comes in and takes an interest, like, gee, I heard you do this.
Right.
And meanwhile, they're doing something, but
Mhm.
meanwhile, I'm talking to them.
Right.
You're doing
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah, and even that for adults, it's even sometimes the teens.
Yeah.
People sometimes will be like, "Oh, well, you guys probably don't see teenagers." We do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they need just as much support, but they might be more distracted by conversation.
Yeah, and
so,
they're also going to hold it in more.
Mhm.
Some of the teen boys are like,
right.
oh dear.
Yeah, so we work. I mean, technically, we work with up to 18-21 anyways, if they're on the pediatric unit.
So the pediatric ER, you can go into how old?
18.
Okay, that lets my son out. Okay, 18 over there, and then after that, they go over to the grown-up.
They do, unless they're still followed by a pediatric specialist, then they do try to make exceptions for that so that they can still stay on the pediatric side, so their provider is still with
We're
them.
talking with Melissa Luman, and she is the director of the Child Life program at UMass Medical Center over in Worcester. And we were talking about the Happy Wheels program. There is someone who comes in as Ronald McDonald, and there's a cart. You've got things to do. You've got treats for the grown-ups, treats for the kids. Went through my mind, what happens if Ronald walks in with it, but the child isn't allowed to eat anything?
So actually, some of our volunteers are the ones that take the cart around. So we have really great volunteers, and what we do is ahead of time, our staff makes a list of who can eat and who can't eat.
Okay, yeah.
So we do the same thing. We actually have ice cream Fridays. There was a group that donated money to make ice cream Fridays happen, but we always have a list ahead of time of who can eat and who can't eat, if there's any precautions or things that we need to know about.
Yeah.
And so then they have that information, so they never go into a room and offer food if the child can't have food.
Yeah, that would be really tough. I mean,
Yeah.
as an adult, I could, okay, no, I can't. But a little
Right.
kid, like, oh, Mom,
Yeah.
really. What's also great, too, over there is the patient representatives.
Yes.
I remember my first major surgery at UMass. I was petrified. This was in
Mhm.
'93. Not of the surgery, but of being knocked out and what am I going to see? What's going to happen around me?
Right.
I called them.
Yeah.
And I said, could have me have a tour?
Mhm.
Can you show me what I'm going to see?
Right.
They assigned me a gal. We got along like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had someone, when I woke up, right there. They even kept track with my husband what was going on.
Right.
They were outstanding.
Yes. They are an amazing group,
Yeah.
and they do fantastic things. They're always looking out for the best interests of the patients.
Is Lee Beaver still there?
I don't know.
She was
I'm
a
not
gal-
positive if she is. But they have a great new director of patient experience now. Her name's Allison, and she's really amazing. They have an amazing team. So.
Do you ever actually color with the children?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, color.
Yep.
I do that.
We
You know
play
the-
with them,
You know
yeah.
those adult coloring books?
Yes.
I could see a cart like this
Mhm.
up in the adult
Yeah.
floors. Hi, would you like one?
Mhm.
Yeah, give me everything you got.
Right.
Really.
Oh, it's such a relaxer. I have even friends who say to sit in color is relaxing for them.
I did it for last night in front of television. I did it for 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's how relaxing
Yep.
it was.
Yeah.
It's mindless.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and it's creative,
Right.
and it's instant.
Yep.
You don't have to wait forever for the paint to dry. You know, you've got it right like that. So tell me about some of the other programs going on.
So we have a connection with Hole in the Wall Gang Camp. So we have a few of their counselors that come out and they spend time with the kids.
What's
they
the name of it again?
The Hole in the Wall Gang Camp.
Home walking?
The Hole in the Wall Gang
Hole
Camp.
in the Wall
Yep.
walking camp.
Luman as camp. So we have patients that go there, but they have outreach specialists.
Yeah.
So they come to the hospital and they just do they really connect with the kids and they do these amazing projects. They make things out of duct tape and they make slime and it's a really
I could
fun
get
time.
into that. You could too. I know
Yeah.
it.
I love slime.
Bring them into my room.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, what a ball.
Yeah, and then there's a local group called Sherry's House.
Yes, it's up in, is it Pleasant Street in Worcester?
Yep, in Worcester. And
I've been there. What a house.
so some of their outreach people come as well and check in with the families that tend to go to Sherry's House as well. So we're lucky. We just have a lot of community support.
Is Hole in the Wall camp, is that for children who are suffering with cancer?
So they do have yes. So they have camps specifically for children with cancer and different diagnosis that can go there for the camp experience.
Do you have a hospice program too?
So there's a local one in Worcester. So and PD Pals is the one, but
That
not
was
directly
good.
out of
That's
our
another.
group.
You brought some flyers, PD
Yes.
Pals. That is hospice. Is that through UMass?
You know what?
I'm not sure.
I'm not going to be able to answer
But
that
it's
right
a
now.
great
'Cause it's-
idea.
I know at one point we were affiliated, but now I feel like they're separated and they're through Notre Dame.
Okay. Yeah,
But
it
I
said
could be
Notre
wrong.
Dame.
Yes.
And so it's wonderful. How long has this been going on, PD Pals?
I don't know exactly when it started, to be honest. I haven't been directly connected with them, so but for as many years as I can remember, there's been a group that
Has
that
it's been
works
around
in,
then?
it's been around for, I feel like,
How many
a little
rooms?
while.
How many pediatric rooms do we have over at UMass in the child center? How many?
So we have 30 inpatient beds.
Okay.
We have 10 inpatient beds for the PICU side, so the
Okay.
intensive care. So that's at the university campus.
Right.
And then over at Memorial, they have 50 beds in the NICU.
Oh, so the Memorial campus
Has
does.
the NICU, yes.
Now, so you've been in the OR with a child.
Mm-hmm.
When they bring them in on life flight, have you dealt with that?
So not specifically like out at the helicopter, but we do go into the trauma bays.
Great.
Yep. So the
You are
child
so needed.
specialists
So
are
needed because you
there.
figure a kid on a helicopter. Oh my God! I mean, an ambulance is scary
Mhm.
enough, but this grasshopper is one. Every time we go to UMass, I say, "Is the grapper up there?"
Mhm.
You know, because I know when my son was growing up, you know that little paw socks thing.
Yep.
We called it the alligator.
Yep.
And to this day, we call it that. Melissa, again, how can they reach you over Child Life at UMass?
Sure. Our main office number is 774-443-2549. We also have an email address, childlife@umassmemorial.org. We have a Facebook page as well, so you can message us in there at UMass Child Life.
If you're a parent and you have a child coming up to have surgery at UMass, either at the university campus or Memorial,
Yes.
please feel free to contact Melissa.
Yes.
Okay? Because she can be there for you and your child,
Mhm.
definitely. And if you are a grown-up, here we go again, and you're facing, they could still contact you, and
Mhm.
you could put them in touch with a patient rep.
Absolutely.
You could be there. Melissa can be there for you. Fear is no longer something you're going to have to hide under your arm. Now you can bring it out, and you can say, "I am petrified,"
Right.
and you could just walk them right through it. This is what you could. I remember the tour I got. This is what you're going to see. This
Mhm.
is where the pre-op and this and that. I went, oh. I didn't take my fear out of being knocked out, but
Mhm.
it took the fear out of what I was going to see. At least
Right.
the unknown was now known.
Right.
And at least I understood. That was before they had the Duddy Massad second floor you
Mhm.
walk into. That was when you were pre-op was on the 4th floor of the main building.
Mhm.
I remember that, just before the change.
Mhm.
I remember that a lot. But the Duddy Massad building is, oh my God.
Yeah.
Even in the waiting room,
Mhm.
you could, they have Wi-Fi?
Mhm.
Do they have TV?
They do. They have TVs in there.
And separate little rooms you can go to be by yourself in an easy chair?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Melissa, thanks so much for
You're
being on.
welcome.
Now with the 2 little grandchildren, my son when he was 19, he had their first child. Now I can know who to connect with if
Mhm.
there's something big coming up.
Right.
Even if they're going in for something else. Now I
Yeah.
know. Because I'm not so worried about, I don't know. The 4-year-old is very scientific. I don't think he'd be afraid of the process. The building he might be.
Mhm.
My granddaughter might be like, I don't know about this.
Right.
Yeah. So now I know I can
Yes,
connect with you.
and absolutely, and we offer tours
Yeah.
for children having surgery. So I definitely want to put that plug out there. Is call us, call our department. We're happy to set a time to have you come in for a pre-op tour. That's something that we're very big on. We have a child life specialist there who does offer those tours. But really for anything that they're coming in for, we have people in the outpatient clinics. Sometimes people just call to ask me for opinions or advice, information, resources. So we definitely want to be a resource for the community at UMass. So.
That's really cool. Show them the cafeteria too. I like the cafeteria. I like their food.
Yeah, just to know where to go. It's
like
pretty good.
The guy, the chef, wears a hat, and you have all these different like little choices.
Yeah.
To make it fun, and even they have those little wagons for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I know I used to work for a family, and their little son had surgery there.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the little wagon.
Yep.
You see that a lot too.
Yeah.
Melissa Luman, if you want to have a child, and if you have a child and you want to connect with somebody who's a real support system at Child Life, connect with Melissa Luman, and she will definitely help you out, no doubt about it. Melissa, we should have you back on again. Are you
That'd
going to
be
leave downstairs here in the lobby? You're going to leave some
I'm going to leave some of our
flyers.
brochures that
Okay.
explain the Child Life program and have our contact information on them.
Great. So come on over to the Upton Library. If anybody you know, their child's going in, definitely come on over, take a look at the brochures, and don't be shy. Call over to UMass. It worked for me many years ago. Now they're really, this is fantastic. I may end up calling. I hope I don't have to have any more surgery.
I was going to say, hopefully not, but I will support you.
Oh my God. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. I'll be my
Thanks.
guest.